Lonely Lord seems to free his mind. Free his mind.
Hello. It's a new day, new video. It is not early in the day. It's kind of like mid-afternoon because I had to do some work this morning, and I also realized I deleted some video footage from yesterday of me doing work on the bus. That wasn't in the last episode, so yeah, I kind of fucked that up. But essentially, I didn't really do very much. I just put a lock, a deadbolt lock on this door, this back door, which I'll show you more in depth in a second. It went all right. Yeah. So basically, it wasn't, the door is too thick. It's thicker than that door, apparently. Somehow, or at least where this latch is, I guess because of this bar that's here. But basically, I don't have, like a lever like that. I can lock and unlock it via, this little latch there. And I can put a key in on the outside, so that does work, and it locks the door. So I did that yesterday because I also removed the old lock that was right here, because that's going to be the bathroom area. So I wanted to get that out of the way, and I also needed to do that anyway, so I can eventually get a longer deadbolt thing, but for now it's usable. So I'd love to start working on the shower, but I need to order the drain, which means I need to work a little bit and get some extra money for some extra parts. So I'm likely gonna build a shower pan myself out of wood, and then seal it up with polyurethane or epoxy resin, or some kind of thick sealer. But right now I'm cooking up some freaking shower ideas to make some privacy walls, ventilation for the steam, as well as extra waterproofing. I may pull these boards up and put them back on, because I'm thinking, I got this idea online, but basically I'll put a shower curtain as a cheap shower liner on the wall. So I'll put that down behind the wood. So then I'll put the wood on, I'll seal all the wood. And then for this corner here, since I don't want to put a wall up here, and I want this window to be usable when I'm like driving the bus, because it is, out the back, and I'd still like to see behind me, because I don't know that I'll have one of those camera systems or anything. I may have a backup camera. I'm trying to get one of those, but I don't know if I'm always going to be able to see back there. So I'd like to keep the windows usable. So basically I have this idea of to make this a privacy window, so that if I'm using the toilet right here or taking a shower, that I can have some privacy but maybe still enjoy light coming through the window. So I also want this to be an enclosed space. Like, I don't want the shower to be a shower and bathroom space all the time. I want this space to be usable as like a bench or another seating area, so that when this is open, you can put something down right here, kick your feet up, enjoy whatever view you have out the door. So I want this to be closable like a bench. So I have some extra plexiglass. If I frame out, all right, tractor. If I frame out a little, basically a flap or a door, like that could fold up, put some hinges underneath there, so then I can hook that up, and it doesn't even have to go across the whole thing, just like the lower part, at least. And I really wanted to do some kind of mosaic thing for the shower, like as a window, but I don't want to put mosaic on the actual windows. So I think that's perfect. I could put my plexiglass there, put like some kind of mosaic art on it, and then that'll be the bench. And this corner, I'm thinking I had this other little part here. So if I make a little L frame and I can hang the shower curtain from that and have that frame hooked up to something. So basically, if I want the privacy in the bathroom area and I need to use the bathroom, I'll just lift that thing up to its latch, and then if I need the curtain, I can put the curtain up, use the bathroom or whatnot, and then we're Gucci. It'd be pretty quick and easy to put down and close that. And then this part would just stay fixed all the time, so you'd have to step in, which would alleviate me having to have a gasket on a door that opens like that or anything. And I think that would keep most of the water in at that point, because I have a shower curtain there. This door and area would be sealed, and then I can have another shower curtain here that just hooks up to the ceiling if I need to. Another thing I also want to get done, since I don't have all the parts to really start on the shower, I could kind of start making the shower pan, but there's a lot going on with making a shower and a shower pan. But basically, I started mocking up pieces for the shelf. I have to cut a few pieces. I got some wood from the neighbor for cheap, which was really nice, and he has some more. So if I need some more wood, I can dig through his scraps. But I got this piece of plywood, which is like a perfect size basically to fit in one of these curved corners. So since it's just plywood, and you know, I have ideas and shit for the shower, I'm gonna put it right up there next to the door frame here, so then I can start getting these lines secured to something, and I can patch that little piece in there, and I'll have that at least affixed. I just need to trim it down slightly. It does fit in there, but it hits the curve and it blocks that marker light, and like I said, I want to keep things serviceable, so I'm gonna cut the top off of that. It'll slide down past the wood and fit in there perfectly. I'll just screw it in, and that covers, you know, halfway up into that curved panel. So then all I gotta do is fill in another piece and maybe put a little stitcher piece between it if needed. But the toolbox is just gonna go there, so that's why I don't care to do anything too visually appealing. Just like behind here is all gonna be covered by the futon or the couch and bench, so I just put plywood back there because that's fine. Obviously you'll see the top area, and this is a shelf that I mocked up for this top area, so it spanned from the edge of the AC to that shelf, and it basically run along that seam between those two boards, and the back panel there would actually go behind the shelf, so if I do run any wiring or anything, it doesn't like sag right there, and I can let it run all the way down to the next shelf above the door, because I'm thinking most of my electrical stuff's gonna go up in here. I might see if I can reorganize some of this stuff a little bit so I can reclaim some of this space, but I don't know how doable that's gonna be. And yeah, there's a lot to think about with the electrical side of things. I got the shelf mounted up and created. It's just 3 beams like I showed you. I ended up changing the design a little bit, so I put just these 2 slats to hold them to all 3 of the pieces together. This little third one that I was going to use ended up capping off that end, and put a little lip up here, screw from the bottom. These guys are screwed from the bottom. This one has a bracket on the side. That one's got the wood obviously, and L brackets there, and then one in the center in the back, because this is a thicker board. This one's just a pallet board, and then this front one is a thicker board too, so I think it looks pretty good. It also blocks off this cubby perfectly, so that if I do slide one of those bins in from the other side, it'll actually retain that pretty well. If not, I can just stuff some crap up in there. I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah, I'm happy with how that came out. I think it fits in well, and I think that'll work for a good little storage cubby. I got that piece put in. I got it cut down. It is kind of installed in there weird because it's in, you know, a weird space of the bus. I also put that extra piece of plywood that I had right there, because remember, like I said, the toolbox is going there, so that whole area is gonna get covered up basically, so no point in trying to make it look all pretty. So yeah, I just gotta fill in that corner, which I don't really know what pieces I want to use for that just quite yet, so that may happen later. I also need to fill in across the top there, which I was planning to use that wide board right there, but again, I might decide to do something else. I don't know. I need to consolidate my wood and figure out exactly what I have, because it's all kind of scattered around right now. Just kind of all over the place today. I did start trying to, I hooked the AC up, at least the main connections up here, and I ran the wire across the ground. That green one still needs to be hooked up to the chassis, but since I was running that wire, I started organizing, or I tried to start organizing wires up here, but I have no idea how the hell I'm gonna design the storage cavity for this fucking front area, because I don't want stuff sitting on the fiberglass, so if it bounces, I don't want this to crack. So I want like some sort of platform, but you know, I'm not a super skilled woodworker, so I don't really know how the fuck I'm gonna do that. And I tried to sort through this wiring mess. This is the frickin' map light, which I have no idea how the fuck that turns on and off. It's just like turns itself on and off, I guess. There's no fucking switch. All the speaker stuff is there, even though none of the speakers worked. None of the back speakers worked. The only one that works is the one in the door, so those are plugged into something, but I have no idea what those wires are plugged into, because obviously they're not doing anything. These are the lights, all the LED lights, which run to that switch, which I think is fucking intermittently broken. So I can't really test the lights out in that sense unless I jump the wires myself. And I want to make these lights controllable, not via the battery on the bus, but via my other battery. So maybe I'll just cut these wires off. Again, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with that. I can't really find much information online for wiring diagrams, so this is just a door harness, so that's just junk. But yeah, I just started tearing that apart, trying to do something with it, but didn't really get far into it. Then I started cutting out pieces for a shower pan. A really long board that was in here is what I used for that, which I realized it was super twisted and warped. So a lot of these 45-degree cuts did not come out great, and you can see the curve in the board right there, but yeah, they don't fit up very well, and like I said, it's pretty twisted, so when it's flush there, it's kind of out on that side. And I ran out, so I couldn't finish the little piece right there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what the fuck to do with this and get it all together, and how to run that drain behind it and such. So yeah, there's a lot to tackle with that, but this is basically the idea. You know, you got these boards enclosed that'll be connected. You got a little shower pan, which I'll put boards on the bottom as well, especially towards the corners, and then slope everything towards wherever the drain's gonna be. And yeah, hopefully that works. I guess we'll see as I continue building it and test it out. But yeah, it's just I don't know what the fuck to do today. But yeah, at least we got the shelf put up. That's cool, I guess. Oh goodness. All right, here's where we're at. I started tearing this whole fucking thing apart. And this thing didn't even want to fucking come out, so I ended up grinding away at some of this shit, because none of the screws wanted to come out. So why would they? But obviously, as you can see, it is a lot more pressed up against the bus and consolidated. It does look a little bit messy like this, but believe me, as organized as it looked before, it was very tangled up, and just like wires going in between wires. It did not make any sense, and I still don't have a full grasp of what the fuck is going on here. Besides, these are the main ignition relays. These are the main fuses that power these fuses. So each one of these like powers a certain strip of that for some fucking reason. And then I don't even know where these relays come into place, because all the labels for these relays are a bunch of things that like don't fucking exist in this bus. Like most of the shit, it's got to be shared with other circuits, because ain't no way that's the main, the one and only thing that each one of those relays go for, because that's some straight fuck shit right there, because there's a ton of fucking wiring in there. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the fuck is going on with all this shit, but it's more pushed away and frees up more space, so that if I want to put my other electrical system, like for the 12 volt things that are not going to be attached to the bus, I can put my other fuse panel somewhere around here along with the battery and solar charge controller and shit like that. But yeah, that's what it looks like now. All the speaker wiring is still all over the place. This is the map light, which I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with this, because well, it doesn't have a switch, and I don't know how it's controlled, so I'm definitely not reusing this fucking thing again. Like, what the fuck is this? There was a bulb in here at one point, but this is just like a hazard, waiting to happen. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that, maybe replace it with a better light, we'll see. But yeah, it's still quite a mess. I started ripping out some of the wiring there to try to like figure out how the fuck all this shit works. And yeah, this is where I'm at so far, and it's a little overwhelming, and it's like almost 7 o'clock now. I started working on some stuff off camera because my phone battery is pretty low after I did work today. So I started making this ladder. So I took apart all of the railing pieces and all the fittings, which were a pain. Had to use some PB to get some of the ends off. But yeah, I separated all of the little fittings and ends from all the pieces. And basically, I have one long straight rail. I put these two adjustable ends on it, which I can screw into the bus, or I can put a little something in between and screw it into the bus again to space it however much I need to. But basically, this is just over 6 feet long right there, and the back of the bus from the bumper up to the roof basically is about 6 feet. So this works out pretty good. I took all these short little bars that were already here because like I said, I tore it all apart. So all these had a hole in them already, and I put all these connectors, so I just drilled holes for the T's that didn't have them. So these are all screwed in. I've marked the width on all these that I want them for my ladder. I'm about to go cut them all down, and then once I get them cut down, I will put these little corner pieces on, and it will get secured to the bus on that end, because I don't have enough T pieces to do two sides like that. So this one on this side will not get screwed into the bus except for the top and the bottom, because the door hinge on the back right there is right there, and the window and everything, so there's nowhere to screw it down. Doing it this way gives us room to go past the window and screw it into the bus. All right, so the ladder is basically put together. I do need to get some more bolts to secure these corners to these guys, and I also need to drill those holes out, which I'll need to get a new drill bit, because this metal, I don't know what the fuck about it is, but it ruined two of my drill bits. It was two of my nice drill bits nonetheless. I don't know why. It seems like it's pretty thin stainless, but oh well. I also need a new blade for my bandsaw as well, so I only got through like most of these before I had to pull out the grinder. But yeah, it's basically put into place. As you can see, this is how it'll go up the back right corner, because I didn't want to interfere with the license plate or anything like that, so I figured I'll put it on the right side. And then this top piece, I'm gonna try to make this rail like wrap over to the roof, so you have like something to grab on the roof as you're climbing up these top ones. So basically, and because I don't have any more L brackets to secure this last bar to the rest of the bus, so basically this guy will attach to that step, this will attach to the bus, and I'll probably have to shim it out or space it out, and then this guy will wrap to the roof of the bus, and then I can maybe put something on that other end to secure it to the roof. But basically you'll be able to climb up and then grab that rail to kind of secure you while you get up onto the roof. Something that I'm also just now thinking about or considering is that if these mounting spots don't line up with a natural metal rail in the bus to screw into, then I will likely put something behind wherever these are lining up with, like a piece of wood or something so it can sandwich through the bus wall to something a little bit more substantial than just the sheet metal. So hopefully it'll hold up a little bit longer over time. Hello, it's another day again. I had to do more work today, and the reason why I need to do so much work right now is because I need some money to buy a countertop. And I've hit my goal of what I need for the countertop, at least. So I got the bus cleared out. It's like afternoon, so tomorrow I will go pick up what will be our countertop along with some other supplies. I won't give away too much. But yeah, bus is clean for the most part. I got all the scrap wood out, swept and vacuumed, and just neatened up some stuff. I wiped the dashboard down because everything was covered in dust, so it looks much better now, especially on camera. So yeah, it still needs to be more thoroughly cleaned. I will do like a really nice detail once the bus is done, but for now that'll be good. So I'm not getting a bunch of dust all over me. I looked into my speaker problem some more, and looking at the wiring, I saw that there's only 2 speaker outputs originally from the vehicle, and then the other 2 are basically just daisy chained together so that you have 4 outputs. So I got them working. Basically the reason why they're not working right now is because they're daisy chained together, so without 2 of the speakers in the system, none of them work. So I can either jump those with a piece of wire, or I can get 2 more speakers, which I'd like to do. The only other thing with that is that I don't know how I'm going to use that radio, because that radio draws off of the bus battery, and I want my audio from my TV or whatever to go through the same system, so I don't want that to drain the battery for the bus while that's happening. So I don't know, we'll figure something out for that aspect of things. Like maybe I'll have to put it on a switch for the power so that it either goes through the bus power or through whatever I put it on. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna tidy this wiring up because I gotta drive the bus tomorrow. That's another reason why I'm cleaning everything up and putting everything back together for the most part, just so that it's drivable again and there's not a bunch of shit flying all over the place. So yeah. All right, so I just made it back from getting the wood, and I gotta say, it went really well. So yeah, shout out to the guys in Jericho, Neighbor Wood Boys. I'll put their website up on screen, but that's where I got this wood from. Let me show you what I got. So here's all the stuff. The slabs are hidden underneath all this other wood right now. So I'm gonna get this stuff unloaded, and then I'll show you the slabs. I ended up saving a lot of money because I originally went there to look at this really large slab, which would have covered this entire run in one shot. But it was huge, heavy, thick, and it was also like $225. But considering a countertop, that's a pretty good price compared to what you'd get at Home Depot. But they know a lot more about wood and what they had, so they hooked me up with something a little bit better that is going to be a lot lighter and manageable for me to work with by myself. And so they said $100, we'll give you the slabs for the countertops, and then whatever you want, you load up for the extra stuff. And yeah, so I could have gotten more of this extra wood, but I think this will be enough to cover the ceiling, which is what I really want to do with it. The walls are basically done. The shower, I still got more pallets, so I can finish the shower and whatever other space. I should have plenty of wood at this point. So yeah, I'm gonna get this stuff unloaded and moved into the garage so that I can open the space back up, and then I will show you the slabs I got for the countertop. All right, so I got all the other wood out of the way, so here's what we're looking at. I was looking at a white oak slab. I know nothing about wood, nor do I really care what type of wood I have in here. It's about whatever I can afford and being locally sourced so that I don't have to spend a bunch of money on shipping or time waiting for stuff. Ooh, there we go. And there is so yeah, there's the second slab. So yeah, these are both pine. This was I think it was $60 basically for the two slabs, he said, versus the $225 I was gonna pay for some other one. But these are only about 22 inches wide, but they're like a little over 8 feet long, each of them. So I can pick and choose which parts I want to use. Obviously this one's got a big crack in it, so I might opt to try to use more of the other end of that, so I don't have to do too many repairs. But this one also has a crack, so we'll figure out what areas look best and will work for me. But since these aren't quite wide enough, because the cabinets are 24 inches wide, he gave me this piece of maple. It's a nice piece of maple. So basically I can cut these down or rip them down somehow. Probably just with the regular saw I have. And then I can use this guy as the actual like edge that goes all the way across. So there'll be one edge that goes all the way across, and then these pieces butted up against it. And hopefully I can make it all fit together well, because I am not a woodworker, so we'll see how that turns out. But I kind of want to get one of these pieces just like on the countertop, just kind of see how it looks. So let's see if I can do that. And to those of you thinking at this point that it's a lot of wood covering the inside of this, and that's probably a lot of weight. Well, yes, it does add extra weight. I don't think it's going to be too much weight for me and everything else that I have for this particular build, but a few considerations are, it's what I can afford. It's locally sourced, so you know, a little bit in gas money and I can pick this stuff up. No shipping costs, no waiting for shipping. And then a couple other reasons are, it's what I like the look of. It's what I wanted to do if I could do it. And it's all natural resources. The other thing is, in the event that I were to need a building material for whatever reason, I have a ton of it just strapped to the inside of my bus. So in the event that I ever needed to build something because of an emergency, or I have to board up a window that just like shattered, or I'm stranded somewhere and I need firewood, well, I have a backup, you know, built into the bus, basically, that, you know, I can take those out with a screwdriver or a pocket knife or a drill or whatever I have accessible. So it's good for the emergency case scenario that I were to need it, and if I do want to change it someday, I could. Now, if you had fiberglass paneling or some other shit like that, well, that ain't going to help you in an emergency situation, most likely, and it's not going to be as reusable. But with this, I can change it out later if I don't like it, or if it doesn't work out. And if I am in a situation like that, well, I have some resources. And I wanted to do wood and live edge, so I ultimately got what I wanted, and it was also still the cheapest option, because buying a countertop alone at a big box store would have been close to about $200-300 in and of itself. Then there's installing it, and then that doesn't even mention the rest of the wood that I would have needed to cover the rest of the ceiling and whatever's exposed that still needs to be covered. And considering the cost comparison to dimensional lumber, if I were to be covering this shit with dimensional lumber, oh my god, I would have gotten nowhere near the same cost equivalency of free pallets and slab wood for doing this project. So I'm not saying that you should do it this way, but these are the reasons why I'm doing it this way, and it's mostly just because I'm working with what I have available. All right, so I got this piece just laid up on the cabinets. It does have either a little bit of a bow in the board, or my cabinets just really aren't level, or a little bit of both, most likely. But I measured it out to a consistent dimension away from the slats that are on the wall. So this is how much overhang I have on the cabinet doing it that way. Obviously this is a lot wider than I need it to be, as well as these. So choosing which ones I cut down, because I mean they all need to be cleaned up a little bit. Like these ends will have to get cleaned up. But this already has the bark taken off, which is good, because apparently you have to do that, because otherwise it'll fall off, which we're gonna find out ourselves on the roof panels if the bark falls off, whichever ones keep their bark. So yeah, again, I'm not a woodworker, I don't know this stuff. From what I've seen online, they say you got to get rid of the bark, but I've also feel like I've seen bark on the edge of a countertop that somebody sealed in with epoxy, so I feel like it is still doable. But this is what it looks like. Here's what I've got up so far. These do go up. It takes about just as long, I'd say, because you got to fit it up there and kind of find just the right board, a little bit more searching for just the right board than those ones, and they're a bit bigger, so take a little bit more time to sand, but they cover way more space. So obviously once it's up, it takes less screws, and it goes all the way, almost all the way across with just one board. So 2 boards goes all the way down the bus, which is great. It does have, a couple little gaps and cracks, but as we've stated before, that is the whole look of the bus. It's supposed to be like that. There's nothing perfect about this bus, nor do I want anything perfect about it. I want it to be just good enough for my liking, and nature is imperfect in itself. So it is starting to rain, so I'm trying to wrap things up for today, because I don't want to do sanding in the rain, nor does that really work. But yeah, so I got 2 new rows of wood down, and yeah, we got to finish the rest of it. I think it looks good. If you were to want to do something like this, either with pallet wood or just rough cut wood, and you're expecting little gaps here and there, my one recommendation that you could do to make this almost perfect is just paint your current roof. So where this is red, if I painted that black or brown, it would just blend in. I mean, you could barely see it as is, but if that were painted, I don't want to do that at this point, because I got too much stuff in here, and I don't want to get overspray on that, nor do I have the money or the paint to do that, or is it necessary. So I'm just putting this stuff up. But if you want it to look nicer and still want to achieve this similar finish, you can just paint, or get up in between these cracks and fill them in with something, or paint in there. But all I'm trying to do is hold the wool in. So this will hold the wool in. It looks good and rustic. Like I said, if I'm ever in an emergency situation, I got plenty of wood on hand to do whatever I need to do. But I shouldn't need to do that. So yeah, it's a new day today. I have plenty of stuff I need to do, but I had to buy some stuff, and let me get into what I bought just now and what we're going to be doing today. So I know this video's kind of been all over the place. I was working on shower stuff, and then I got this stuff, and so really the main goal
is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
Get these trimmed down potentially to closer to the size that they're actually going to be in the bus, so that they're not taking up too much room. And also to finish getting the insulation covered up, especially on the ceiling. So I'd like to prepare more of these boards that I have and get them installed today, so that I do not have to mess with the ceiling anymore. I also want to get that shelf up, which I'll pick a board to do that with as well. But into some of the tools I got, that goes with the shower. That's like the stained glass stuff I was talking about for the privacy. But I got a bench plane. I know this is a really shitty bench plane because it's made in the modern day, and it's a cheap bench plane. It's like $35 is what I paid for it basically, and it has a horrible adjustment method from what I've learned online, and I've never used a plane, so this is going to be my first time learning with this, so hopefully it goes well. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, but I need something to flatten these out by hand because I don't have any other tools for doing that. A quick update for my gray water drain. I remember saying I was going to do something like this. I was just waiting to get the parts, but basically I got this quick connector set from Ace. It came with this valve, this quick connect valve. Came with a quick connector with two male ends, that guy and that guy. So basically, since my hose for the drain on the gray will fit onto the 3/4, threads, it's not a 3/4 inch hose, a 1 inch ID, but these threads are 1 inch. So this will go on my hose outlet, which is open. You can see I already put the screen in. This is just a hose washer with filter. So just like it is set up right now, it's got a screen on the end of the hose. So I'll put this on the end of my hose instead of that screen. No bugs can get in. If I want to drain it from inside the cab by just opening this valve, it'll discreetly drain. If I'm at a campsite that requires me to drain at a specific location, and I'm not on the road, what I can do is I can go out there, hook this guy up, and ideally I'll have this fitting built onto there, and I can put this on my hose. So this will be on whatever hose I'm using to drain my gray water. And I can close this valve, hook this up, come inside, open my valve, and then go out there, release this, and drain my gray water where it needs to be drained. And then when it's all said and done, I can go close the valve in here, and we're all good to go. I can disconnect this and store it away again. So that's how my gray water is going to be set up. So it's proper, but also discreet at the same time, so I can have the best of both worlds, I also picked up a square because I didn't have a square, so I couldn't make any square, lines to anything. So now that I got that, that maybe will unlock some of my woodworking capabilities. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this slab. I'm trying to get a straight line cut on it first off. And I was trying to figure out something to use as basically a circular saw or skill saw track, since I don't have a track saw or a table saw or any of that shit. So I had this rail from the side of the bus. I haven't gotten rid of it yet, and it's huge, so it's way longer than the board, obviously. How straight it is, that's kind of questionable. because it to me it looks like it has a little bit of a bow like that. But it's the best thing I got, so that's what we're gonna work with. I measured the center points. I saw a video, it said for a live edge slab you just measure edge to edge on a face and then mark the center point on both sides and then connect the dots basically. So I got a center point line all the way down the slab, so that gives me a reference line to use, and then I measured the thinnest part, which is all the way down right there. It's like 10 and 1/8 or something. So I basically measured that thinnest width all the way across the board from the center line. So this is the widest end, so obviously the most is coming off of this. So I drew this line down. What I'm going to do now is pull this slab out, put it on my little pallet table. I think I'm going to reinforce the pallet table just a little bit so this isn't shifting around on me. And then I'm going to put this down on it, and I need to measure where the saw is going to line up, so space this out accordingly away from this target line so that the saw hits the target line. And then yeah, we'll just run the circular saw all the way down against this as a fence, and hopefully we get a nice straight edge. From there I will square off the ends so I can cut some proper lengths. Okay, so I got the first slab squared up, and yes, I did cut the live edge off of the slab, and I will be cutting the live edge off of that slab too. And that is because I have the full strip live edge that'll go all the way across. So I got this one cut down the length. I did cut off most of the split end, so I measured this out. This is 6.5 feet, so then that just leaves a couple more feet to deal with because the countertop total length is just under 10 feet. This does have a little crack here, so I think this is going to go at the front of the bus. I did sand it down just lightly, but yeah, it's all squared up as best as I can get it. It's not perfect because this bar isn't perfectly straight, but I'd say it's good enough. You can barely tell, or you can't really tell at all visually that it's off, but with a tape measure it is slightly wider in the middle, but I think that's fine because I have the bench planer to get all the seams perfect when I'm butting them together. So yeah, let's get this in the bus. There we go. All right, I put it into place. I got this piece basically lined up. There's a little bit of overhang, so I can clean this edge up a tiny bit, and I made it so it goes right to this strip. So right where this, you know, divider is anyways, is where the seam will be, so it'll kind of blend in with things, I think. I still don't have a sink or a stove top yet. The stove top would go all the way to the edge, so it'd be a, you know, a straight cut all the way around. The sink though is I'm gonna do a drop in, so if I do fuck up the cut a little bit, I can cover it up slightly. But probably gonna do some measurements today now that I got this into place, and roughly how much overhang will be on the countertop. This will be a little bit less because I was originally planning for this to be 15.5 from the windows, but I cut it to 16 so that I can take, because 15.5 is where I want this in its final position. So that gives me, in case this isn't entirely straight, that gives me a 1/2 inch that I can play with to rip off of this edge board to get it to sit nice and flushly. But for now, it looks pretty good. I should have, god damn it, I should have, whatchamacallit, I should have looked at what side of the metal thing that I cut this on, because, you know, if it has a natural, you know, straightness to that bar, if I put that at the same, you know, direction on this, it'll mate up real nice. But I did not do that, so we're just gonna, you know, make it fit by hand with this shitty planer. The thing that makes it really hard about this, honestly, it's not the fact that, like, the adjustment mechanism is the way it is. Like, that's the least of my worries, right? Because I don't really care how it adjusts, but the problem is with this adjustment method, not only does it suck from what I've heard from online reviews, but I can't compare it to like any other planer video, because every other planer operates in the same manner, because it's just how every, you know, bench planer works, besides this one. So I literally have to watch videos dedicated to this specific hand planer to really learn anything, because the adjustments that everybody talks about are basically irrelevant to this, because it doesn't work on the same premise of those at all. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a learning curve to figure this thing out. And I don't have any of the sharpening like jigs or any of that shit, nor do I want to take the time of finding a sheet of glass to put sandpaper on and make sure this is completely flat. It's just that's more work than I'm willing to put into that, because what I was going to do if I didn't get this was just fucking sand it until it was smooth enough for me and call it good there, you know. So because that's, you know, the level of okayness. As long as it looks good to me, I don't really give a shit, you know, how flat or straight it is, because nothing in this bus is really flat or straight. So yeah, I'm just gonna send it with that guy and learn as I go and figure it out. But yeah, that's the first piece in. I'm gonna probably get this next one cut down and shaped up to fit this little stretch there, and then I'll rip this guy out and start working on it. Okay, I got the second piece cut and just fit in there again. It does have a bit of a bow to it, so that'll have to get addressed when I start planing stuff. But yeah, this is basically how it's gonna look. Obviously this will have to get thinned out for the transition, but again, I have to plane all this stuff down by hand. So yeah, that'll get done then. This will have to get, the seam will have to get addressed. I'll have to figure out some way to get those both lined up well. I did get myself a little bit of overhang slack again, so I got some room to trim those up a tiny bit and clean the ends up. But overall, I think that's a good start to that. Again, I did sand this down just a little bit, help with splinters. But now that those are out of the way, I think I might tackle this really big guy maybe tomorrow. I don't know, or maybe later today, we'll see. I'm getting kind of hungry, so I'm losing motivation. So I might go make some food, and then I'll come back out here and maybe do the ceiling panels. I don't know. All right, so I used the hand planer and I planed the bottom sides of these guys so that they sit pretty flat. This one could use a little bit more, but I got them pretty well flat. And I also did the edges, so I flattened out those back edges and I planed down this edge, so the seam is a lot better. It still needs a bit of work, but it's way better than it was. This board still needs to get planed, because in this configuration, I liked the other side more, because when you're standing up and working on the countertop, you can actually see the live edge. This way is going, you know, down, so if you're sitting down and looking at the counter or from afar, it looks great. But up top, you don't see the live edge at all. But in this configuration, you can see that the warp of it sits just about on all the cabinets besides that little corner right there. If I flip it over, it's sticking up over here and over there. So it's because it's got a little bit of a bow, or the cabinets are just not level, because you can see the countertops are also not resting on that corner of the thing. So I think I'm gonna put it in this orientation just to make things easier. It lines up with the surface of these boards better. And I mean, it also, I still need to let them sit in here for a couple days so they can continue to get acclimated to the environment. But I'd say these are looking pretty good so far as a countertop. Look at that. It looks legit. You can almost like barely not not notice that seam there because boards just go so well together. Yeah, I still need to get the tops planed down, which I don't want to do until, I don't know, until maybe they're all stuck together so that I can get one level, even surface. I don't really know what the order of operations is on this that I'm going to take. I'm just going to figure it out as I go. This is the first time for me. All right, I'm going to call it a day here because I got to edit this video because this is going to be the end of the video. I didn't do any of the ceiling today, but we did get the countertops into shape and off of the floor so they can just rest on the cabinets as they continue to acclimate to the bus, which is not too far off from outside. I still need to, do some things with it, as I just discussed in the last clip. I also picked out a board for my shelf above the kitchen, and I think I want to support it with this little live edge piece here, basically up against the window, and I'll have to support it in some other places too, but I'll let that get used to the bus as well. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of today's video, so thanks for watching.